All right, we should be live. We will wait and see when we appear for everyone to see us, as we always do, because
I know.
because you never know what's going to happen.
It's like,
Um,
are we? Always do.
are we live? Like, I don't know. There it goes. It's
Yay.
starting to show up. Aha, there we are. Hello, everyone. Is anyone here to join us for our Shadowhunters fandom meetup today? If
Although,
not, it's just going to be me and Becca
I know.
talking about Shadowhunters, and we're totally cool with that.
I was gonna say we could talk for hours and be like, oh my god, and then
And then, hi Bethany, hi Ashley, hi Charby, hello Kate, hello Sophie. See,
Kate,
we have friends.
you hate Shadowhunters. What are you doing here?
Kate said that she doesn't know a whole lot about the Shadowhunters, but she was going to come and hang out because she missed our faces.
Oh, okay.
So, in case anyone is wondering if you just randomly hopped onto a Shadowhunters live chat, because why wouldn't you? I agree, I would also.
Right.
This is the lunch break for the Social Distance Book Fest. So, I have linked down below, or at least I hope I did. I hope I did my job. I did. The playlist of all of the panels that are going on today and the Social Distance Book Fest website. And there will be 18 panels today featuring 80 plus authors, as well as giveaways, which Becca is doing. Becca's over there. Becca's doing a giveaway that is on the giveaway channel, or on the giveaway page. That makes more sense.
I have my own channel.
And she also has her own channel because she's right there. There are some availability for virtual signings, and you can purchase through our bookshop.org page, which promotes indie bookstores, and we also get a 10% proceed from that, which we are donating to charity. So, all of that down below. Otherwise, we're just going to chat about Shadowhunters. First and foremost, because it is a newer release and not everyone has gotten to read it yet, we will not be doing any Chain of Gold spoilers today. We can discuss like the characters that it entails, like what characters are in the book, but let's not do any spoilers for that because it is a fairly new release.
And I'm not done.
And Becca's not done yet. But even if Becca was done, I was going to mention not to do that, just because it's only been out for a couple of months, and I know everybody doesn't read as quickly as we do. So that seems like the fair and polite thing to do.
You do. I can't do the point right. As you
I know,
do.
I'm like, which way are... If you just point in both directions, it always points at you. It's fine. We're over here.
Yes.
And I am sure I'm getting like all of the updates from the Percy Jackson chat, and it is going crazy. So we probably won't have a lot of friends. I think everybody's going to be hanging out in the Percy Jackson chat, which is awesome.
Funny. I was going to say that was the other one we were going to do.
We were talking about doing two, and I was like, well, I know everybody was really excited about doing either Shadowhunters or Percy Jackson. It was like a last minute addition because the other 3 fandom meetups that we had all scheduled for 5 o'clock, and there were any for noon. And I was like, well, I could talk about either of those 2 series, and all of the other creators that are working on the fest were like, yeah, those are both great. And I'm like, well, Becca and I can do Shadowhunters. I know who to contact about Percy Jackson. Because Julia is like, Percy Jackson is her brand. So I knew that was like the right person to contact for sure. So it seems like it's hopping over there. I'm definitely going to be rewatching the playback of that later.
Yes, definitely.
There we go. Love your shirt, Becca. Did you make it yourself?
Oh yeah, you know what's funny? We were just talking about this before we started. Is that it doesn't seem like, and maybe we haven't checked in a while, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of Shadowhunters merch in terms of clothing. So yeah, I actually make a lot, but this is my favorite, so I wore it because it's just all the runes. But basically, I know I talk about it on my channel probably too much, but there's a website called spoonflower.com where you can make your own fabric. And so I drew all of the runes and made, and kind of placed them out, and then made a fabric of it, and then I made it like sort of it's like a stretch fabric because I thought it would be more like like a skin, like you're actually tattooed kind of thing. So But now that I have the fabric, I could make like tank tops, t-shirts, whatever. So I'll probably make some more stuff. But yeah, I even have like Hina and I cosplayed Shadowhunters for Comic-Con one year. So I actually made us like gear, and I had like big hoodie with like the runes on the back, and it was a lot of fun. So I have a lot of Shadowhunter stuff.
I pulled out my bag, my amazing Shadowhunters bag that Becca made me. I use this as my purse. It is giant, but you know what? My planner fits in here, and that's great. So I take my planner plus my reading planner plus all of like my pens and supplies and everything with me everywhere I go. So like it's perfect.
Yay.
So thank you, Becca. That's like my one Shadowhunters related. I have like this bow, but I've had it for like 300 years. So
right.
you know, just like
that's perfect. See,
and oh my god, the cats. And I tried to keep the dogs outside today, but they were just sitting outside the door barking, so it didn't really help the situation any. And now they're just all milling around.
I have a question, because you and I have never actually talked about this. Because I know we've kind of skated around it in terms of like actors we like and stuff, but which version do you like best in terms of on the screen? Like the movie version? Because I know your soft spot for Jamie Campbell Bower.
I have more than a soft spot for Jamie Campbell Bower.
I know. Yes. Or is it the TV version? Because I know you love Vampire Academy too, and we've got Dominic Sherwood.
Oh God, Dom. Okay.
So you've got, I that's why I never knew like which one, because I'm all like, she likes both. I don't know if it's equally, but which portrayal do you like best? Because I have my opinions, but I want to hear yours first.
I prefer every actor from the TV show over actors from the movie, with the exception of Jamie Campbell Bower. However,
Dom!
I love Dom, but I think, Merlin, go away. I think that Dom would be a perfect Will Herondale. So they're very similar characters. They have very similar personality, but Will has a lot more nice characteristics than Jace does. And I don't know what's up with this cat. I'm trying to talk. And I know. I'm trying to talk, Merlin. Go away. But yeah, so I think like the TV version actors, and obviously, please, if you watch like the first couple episodes of the TV version and you hated it, the first episodes are horrendous. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Stefan. I know you can hear me, but first episode was real bad.
Yeah, he did the pilot, but he only did the visual effects for it.
I know, but I'm sorry. I still love you.
I hear you. And he's playing Overwatch right now, so it's good.
But like, right, I know. It was even the acting was very stilted and it wasn't, the first episode was not great. And
well, I'll tell you something about that though, because when he was working on it, almost none of the actors really knew anything about the books aside from reading them, because they were trying to get into their characters and stuff like that. So it wasn't until probably about 3/4 or halfway through shooting the pilot that anything that they would tweet, they would get like, and these guys were not obscure, but they weren't huge. Like none of these actors were really huge before they did this show. And so they would tweet like one tweet and suddenly they would get like 5,000 retweets. And Stefan said it was fun watching them on the show because they were like, oh, like, so that's when they were like, this is bigger than we thought. Like they did not realize the fandom that was attached to, even though they hadn't seen a drop of their acting, nothing, they were already worshipped and adored and excited for. And so yeah, so he said that it was fun to watch them over the whole shooting of the pilot, to see like they went from like da 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 to like, holy shit, what are we doing? This is gonna be huge.
Yeah, and I think like the first like 2, 3, 4 episodes of the TV show are not great, but if you keep watching, it gets really interesting. And I am also one of those people that like, I love anytime a TV show or a book gets turned into something else, because in my opinion, it doesn't hurt the original. It makes more fans. It makes more interesting topics to discuss. And I love that, like, they added in so much technology and things in the TV show, which if you guys didn't make it very far in the TV show, you probably don't know that. They added a lot of technology and things into the TV show from what they had in the books or in the movie.
Yeah, like their base and stuff like that. You're like, oh, whoa, that wasn't in the books. Yeah, I liked it. I have to say though, season 2, they, you know, normally like I kind of like it when TV shows and stuff veer off the foot just a little bit. Like sometimes it makes it better. Like aside from the last 2 seasons, when around season 3 in Game of Thrones, when they started veering off from the source material, they were good choices. Like I was like, oh, that is better. Like that works. But some of the changes they made in the TV show for the Shadowhunters, I was like, I don't think that was a better choice. I think that you should have stuck to some of the choices. I feel like they should have stuck to the original source material. But yeah.
Running back to this Dom great as Will. Okay. It would be great. But also, I concede that I don't think that Jamie and Kat would have the same connection that Kat and Dom have, so it wouldn't really be the same.
I have to say, for me, I like Catherine McNamara much better as Clary. I was not feeling Lily at all.
I love Lily Collins, but
I know I do love her in other things. I just
yes.
Yeah, I just did not feel her as Clary. Jamie Campbell Bower can do no wrong. We actually were so excited because we loved that Arthur series, and we were like, that was the only thing we knew him from at the time, and so we're like, oh my god, Arthur's gonna play Jace. It's amazing.
Yes.
But my true love, and will always be my true love, is Robert Sheehan from Misfits, because
oh my god, yes,
Nathan is one of the most perfect characters ever created on Misfits. And when I found out that he was leaving Misfits for Shadowhunters, it was the only reason why I was able to accept it, was because he was going to be playing Simon. So I was like, okay, I'm okay, even though it actually ruined the show Misfits when he left, because, you know, it's him. But I was surprised. I liked Alberto as Simon on the TV show. I didn't think that anyone could come close to Robert Sheehan, and he's really good.
They both did really well.
Yeah.
The other one that is very controversial that I love is Luke, because like
I love Luke in the TV show more than the movie. Yeah.
But I love Aiden Turner. Like, he is a gorgeous human being. Do not get me wrong. Yeah. And I think look-wise, I think he obviously looks more the part of what you expect.
But that's where I love the TV show, where it's like,
but I love the TV show because it is so inclusive. It is like retroactive inclusivity, because people aren't really described as being other than just this color of skin in the books. And typically.
Yeah, it's like they kind of had to with like blonde hair, red hair. You know, at that point you're like, oh, okay, fine, we got a cast. But like, at least I'm glad that they gave some leeway with the other characters. And I actually love Alec and Isabel better in the TV show. Like, and I also love the chemistry between Matthew and Harry Malik.
Oh yeah.
Way better. Like, I mean, I know they didn't really get into it that much in the movie, but I'm just saying, it's just like they had so much chemistry. They were amazing. And I did not like who they cast. I don't even know his name for the movie for Alec. I was not feeling
Kevin Zegers. I love Kevin Zegers. He's a super nice guy. He is a great person. But he's 36 years old, and he looks it, and he's playing an 18-year-old. So in my opinion, that was a bad decision. Okay, but back then, he was also probably like 28, 29. It's been a while since that movie came out.
That's true.
But yeah, like, he's older than I am. So he's like 34, 35, 36, somewhere around in there. And he just was way too old to be playing that part.
It didn't like, he didn't embody Alec to me.
Right.
Where Alec. Yeah. Whereas Matthew, what's his last name?
Daddario
or whatever. He, first of all, beautiful.
Him and his sister are so gorgeous, and I am so jealous.
But like, and that's how you imagine it when you're reading the book. You're like, it wasn't exactly that I imagined him to look like Matthew, but but it was perfect when I saw him too. It was like, oh yeah, that's way more than the movie, because not that the guy isn't attractive in the movie, but he's just not that kind of attractive like the way Matthew is. So
it's not even like the attractiveness. It's just that he's
not that great of an actor, but it has to be a little bit of the attractiveness.
But you know what though, and the other thing is Jemima West, who plays Isabel. How do I remember this? I remember all of this, but I can't remember anything for work. Jemima West, who plays Isabel in the movie, they did her dirty because she is gorgeous. And whatever they did to her, like her hair and makeup that they did in that movie, makes her look awful.
Yeah,
they did her real dirty.
Yeah. It's funny how that is. It's like in some things you'll see the same actor and you'll be like, why did they do that or this? Like,
why is this the choice that we made? Because it was a choice, and I know they did it to like try to make her look more badass, because Jemima is like very short, and like I get that, but they did her dirty.
Yeah,
poor girl.
Yeah, I remember you know how Vampire Diaries has all the spin-offs, and of course I've watched all of them, but they have a spin-off, Legacies, and so one of the characters, a couple of the characters, you know, that were in you know, originals and Vampire Diaries were in Legacies to kind of push it forward.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the freak was on hair and makeup duty, but the hair on Caroline, these characters that have had gorgeous, perfect hair in Vampire Diaries and the originals. I mean, you know, these people are amazing. And their hair was like, they didn't even look like themselves. Like, just in the first couple episodes, they obviously got the note and changed it. But it's so weird how just hair and makeup can change how you, not that it should matter at all, but it's like the way you're used to seeing them as a character, and then they're just, whoa, weird. Like, you just can't stop staring at their, I don't know. Anyway, but yes, I feel like hair and makeup can be a
huge deciding factor in everything. Okay, so we've talked about characters.
Well, we talked about actors, really, but
we talked about actors because we had to talk about Jamie Kimmel Bauer, because that's how we live our life.
I know.
Listen, guys, I have met him, and he is like the nicest person on the planet. He is so sweet, so kind. Like, just walks around the music venues where he's playing at and just like talks to people in the audience before the show. Like,
so sweet.
He's so sweet. So moving on from that topic. Let's discuss series. Of the 4 series that there are, there's 3, there's 4 right now, but we're not talking about Chain of Gold. If you missed that, no Chain of Gold spoilers. So if you had to choose one series to keep forever, what series would you keep?
I was gonna say, this may be controversial, but I actually enjoyed the Dark Artifices the most. And I don't know why. Like, the Mortal Instruments was my favorite in the sense that it got me into this world. And I love the Infernal Device. That's fucking hard. I love the idea of the sort of steampunky world of the Infernal Devices, and I love Will and Tess and Jem, like that whole relationship type thing. But I don't know, there was something about Emma and Julian that felt really vulnerable to me that I really liked more. If I'm going by, because really you can only base it on relationships, I guess, in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Cassie is well known for her relationship interpersonal connections. Like, that is, I think that's the main reason why people. Okay.
Yeah.
No shade to Cassie Clare and her writing at all in any way, shape, or form, but I think the reason why people love it and enjoy it so much is because of the relationships between characters. I think that's why people continue to return.
Yeah, and so that's people get like in a mode sometimes. Like, I remember when I was reading Chain of Gold, just in the beginning, I kind of got this feeling of like, oh, this is the same thing, but just swap out the people. And then, but then I started getting into the people again, and then now I'm like, it's like crack, and I want to.
You don't even care.
Yeah,
I don't even care.
I don't care if it's the same. It's okay. Great. What new demon are we fighting? It's great. All right, fine. I'm good.
What demon do we have, and who's dating here? Let's do this.
Can they just hook up now, please?
Can we all just get together? It'll be great. honestly, like, also not choosing the Mortal Instruments. I don't know anybody that would.
It's true.
I mean, it's rough. Like, it's a great series, and I love it. And I would never I mean, it's one of
Because it got you into it. Yeah.
Because it got you into it.
Yeah.
But I recently watched Pierre Ford's. She read the entire Shadowhunters series in 72 hours.
The thumbnail for that. I didn't watch.
Oh my gosh, I love her. One, she's hilarious, and two, just like the questions during the thing are like, okay, you guys who are reading this in real time, who was shipping this incest? This is the craziest thing ever. Like,
oh, okay, I need to ask you about that though. Okay, so that's a question I wanted to ask you and everybody else. I feel like we're chat people. Okay, if we're before you knew, even though I felt it was pretty obvious that they were not brother and sister. Like I was 99% sure they were not. But even if they were, did you still want them to get together? You go first, Jess.
See, this is the issue, is that I watched the movie first. So I knew they were related.
No! So you didn't have like 4 books to build up and wonder?
No, I didn't have 4 books to wonder because, well, here's the thing, is I knew that they had made choices from the movie to the books. Again, I watched the movie because of Jamie Kimmel Bower. So
okay. So technically he's the one who started this all for you.
He is. He started a lot of things for me, girl. But so I watched the movie and I knew, like, at the end they say, we'll lie to them, we'll tell them that they're both your children. So that knowing that in the back of my head the whole time, I was like, I bet the movie was trying not to be creepy incesty like the book is. As I was reading through
they had to make that call. I think it was the right call for a movie because I don't think people would have been into that at all. Except that Game of Thrones had then proven that people weirdly still want Cersei.
We like weird things, okay?
Yeah. Because that's the thing is because like when you're watching Game of Thrones, yes, you're disgusted that Jaime and they're twins and they're together, but at the same time, it's a weird perfect match. So you do feel that in the book. I mean, I know now that you were reading it already knowing they weren't brother and sister, so you're like probably in your head being like, "You're not. Who cares? Go for it."
Well, and also I'm a highly rational person, and this is going to sound horrible, and I'm going to lose friends for this. I am highly rational, and I believe that because they did not grow up as siblings, so they have no familial feelings for one another.
Right.
If they chose to be together but not procreate, I would be fine with that.
Well, it's just the genetics that would screw them up because their 4 children could end up really messed up. But
right, so if they chose not to procreate, not to create children,
exactly,
then I could live with them in a relationship. I wouldn't care, because they didn't, like, if you grow up as brother and sister or as cousins or whatever it is that you grow up as and you decide that you want to be together, that's freaking weird. But I mean, if you're 30 and you meet someone and like you fall in love with them and you find out they're your brother, don't procreate is all I can tell you, because your kids are going to have 4 arms and 1 foot.
Well, wasn't there like a really famous book series? My sister was really into it. I never read it. It was called Flowers in the Attic or something.
Yeah.
And they were brothers because that was it. They only had each other. And so they were together. So, and that was really popular. So I feel like there's a lot of popular couples.
Well, I think that Flowers in the Attic is, the reason why it is so interesting is because it is 2 characters that are brother and sister, but they're not actually being raised by anyone. They're really just thrown in an attic and left there to grow up. And so they're getting all those teenage hormones and all those teenage urges, and there's only each other to express that with.
But it's like, it makes you wonder, like the author, like, I have a good idea for a story.
Right.
And it was. I mean, everyone loved it, so it's not like she was wrong.
It worked. But the TV show is not canon. It is very... some parts of it are close. Some characters are close. A lot of the relationships are close, but there are characters that live in the books that die in the movie, and then the person that they're supposed to be with end up with other people, and it's freaking weird. But yeah. So
I didn't like some of the choices they made in the TV show.
I know why they did what they did. It's also different. It's different with a TV show because you have to deal with the actors and what the actors are doing. And because at the end of the first season, they were losing Clary's mom and the actor that plays Clary's mom. So their choice was to either bring in a different actor to play her or to write her out of the book or to write her out of the TV show.
I
so they
hated
chose to write her out.
Like, I hated it.
It was a horrible decision as far as like, but do you just change the actor and hope, and hope that it works as well? I mean,
Game of Thrones was over. They could have got Lena Headey back.
That's true. That's true. They could have. She's amazing.
I know, I love her. Honestly, that couple, Valentine, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and Lena Headey, they were the ultimate. Like, I love them. Like, because honestly, the guy they picked for Valentine and even the mom for the TV show were just sort of like, I didn't really care either way for them.
There, I actually I've seen a documentary on a couple that were in their 40s and had children in their teens and found out that they were half siblings.
Oh wow!
They didn't know. They knew that one of them was adopted, and they found out that one of them was a half sibling. They found out they were half siblings. So, yeah,
it does happen.
It happens. The TV show is canon to the TV show, but it's nothing like the book, so it's not canon to the original series. Accurate.
Yeah.
It is kind of like fan fiction. Absolutely.
Oh, jeez. Sorry.
Hey, it's for you.
I'm on live.
Leave me alone. I'm alive.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. Back to the other question. Picking a series to keep forever. Yes. I agree with most people that The Dark Artifices is one of the best written that she has done. I think over the years her writing continues to get better, and she's bringing in so many more things.
Like I feel like that's
past, from the future. Yeah. I'm so excited for The Last Hours, which I don't even think starts coming out until the end of 2021. I'm not even sure, but I'm super excited for it. But as for like the story that made me the most emotional, The Dark Artifices, or the Infernal Devices.
Infernal Devices. I loved Infernal Devices because it definitely it felt like something new at the time. Like after reading Mortal Instruments and because Mortal Instruments felt more like I got more angry at moments. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of choices. But I loved it overall. Whereas Infernal Devices was the first time where I was actually really pretty happy with everything, all the choices that were made, and it really felt painful, like with Jem and everything like that. Like, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons why I like Dark Artifices so much, is because you get to see Tess and Jem. I don't know, like she got to have both. You know what I mean? And I love that. And now with Chain of Gold, that, since this isn't a spoiler, but it's Tess and Will's children, that we get to see Tess and Will together. So I feel like we're getting it all, at least with Tess, which I love. But I think I just love Dark Artifices. Out of all those series, the ones that I would reread would be Dark Artifices. Wicked Powers. Yeah, I know.
As Beth said, I meant the Wicked Powers, not The Last Hours. It is so confusing. I'm sorry.
I know. I was going to say that, but I'm like, I can't be. There's no way that I know. Like, so like, I think it's. But then
I can't be the one that's right, can I?
Like, I know. I literally was like, I got it wrong. There's no way. I'm not going to say anything.
No, I was absolutely wrong. But I will say that, like, the main reason why I will always and forever love the Infernal Devices is because that's why I started my BookTube channel. Like, that was, I finished reading the last book and it was so like earth shattering. I was so distraught. I was just, I cried. Like, I've never cried so much in my life. That book just absolutely destroyed me, and I had no one in my real life to talk about with it because no one that I knew had read the book. And so I went online and started searching for like other reviews, other people who had talked about it, and I found Emma Books' channel. And that is what led me to starting my booktube channel, my Authortube channel, whatever you want. My channel, because as I have been saying recently, my channel has my name because it's about me. I don't have a brand. Don't expect anything. Weird shit's gonna happen. So I definitely like, I will always love that series because it is the reason why I started this booktube channel, which is the reason why I have all of the friends that I have. And so I that book is very special to me in the here part.
Yeah. Oh, I cried like a baby too. But this is no surprise if anyone's been on my channel.
Yeah.
I cry a
Infernal
lot.
Devices was like the worst. But to be fair, like the last 100 pages of City of Heavenly Fire, bawled.
I know. I cried on all of them. She really knows how to hit, because you do get so invested in the characters, and you do care so much about them, even the ones that you kind of are annoyed with at times and you just want to punch in the face. You get attached, and then it's like, even when, and then it's just, yeah, she's really good. That is her strength. That is her main strength, is getting you attached to these people. The story stuff and the world building is still amazing. Like, I love her layers and everything that she does, but it really is about the connections and the characters for me. And I think that's why I did like Dark Artifices the most, only just because I really loved the relationship between Emma and Julian, and having them be, I can't pronounce it. What is it? How do you pronounce it? Parabatai or?
Parabatai.
Parabatai.
I'm sure we all pronounce it differently until the TV show came out or the movie came out, and then we were like, oh, okay, let's pronounce it like
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying for this too. Is it a stele, or is it a steel, or is it a steely? I mean, I don't even know.
Like, I think Cassie has said that it's pronounced steel.
Steel. That's how I said it in my head, but then in the TV shows and movies, it's like stele or steely or whatever, and I'm all like, oh.
And I honestly, I love that, like, in the TV show, they all pronounce it different. Like, whichever actor it is, they just pronounce it however the hell they want and just move on with life. But, I mean, in real life, it's like that, too. Like, people say pecan, people say pecan. People don't actually say potato and potato. I don't know why they say that. That's the thing that you say. But there are many things in real life that people don't say the same because of where they're from. And when you look at the aspect of the Shadowhunters, some people are from the institute that they are in, wherever they are, they grew up in that place, so that's where they say what they say. And some people are from Alicante, so they say it however they say in Alicante. And then you've got Clary, who just shows up out of the middle of Brooklyn, and so then you've got that. So it's very true to real life that you just say whatever comes out when it comes out.
It's true. That's true. I know.
Melanie, you poor soul.
Oh, it's a rough series. I think that's why it's probably not my favorite, because I think I cried the most in Infernal Devices. And so in terms of rereads, like I wouldn't want, like, because you know me, I cry too much. Like, I think I get a little too involved. Like, I have to actually verbally, or physically not. I have no words right now, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to recry like the way I cried the first time. And so I'm in the mood. And so
I've watched it. I've read it 3 times, and I just was destroyed all 3 times. And listen, if that doesn't destroy you, then you are heartless. And second off, the other thing, the thing that I am the most mad at Cassie Clare about, which is the dumbest thing to be mad about, but after all of these years and all of these books and every person that she has killed, the thing I am the most angry about is George Lovelace.
Oh.
Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Okay, it's from the Adventures, the Tales of Shadowhunter Academy.
Okay.
So the book that is about Simon at the Shadowhunter Academy.
Okay.
Where it's like all of the short stories. And he is like Simon's best friend all throughout the books, where Simon is like trying to gain back all of his memories and everything. and he is like the sweetest cinnamon roll, and I love him. And he's like, I really wish, he's always talking to Simon, like, I wish I could be your parabatai, but we all know that you're gonna pick Clary. But him and Simon are like best friends, and he doesn't make it through the ceremony where they try to change them over to Shadowhunters, because he was they bring in people from like other Shadowhunter families that have since been sent away or have been stripped of their powers or whatever the case may be, and then humans who they think can change through drinking from the mortal cup. And he's one of his family was ousted, but what they didn't know is that he was adopted. So he's not actually part of the bloodline of the people. So, like, he knows it, but I think when they reached out to him, they didn't know.
Right.
So, yeah, like, that is the one. Oh, God. That is the one that I am the most angry about of everything. And I know that is so weird to be so invested in a character that has zero connection to anything else in any part of the stories anywhere. I just... Oh my gosh, you get so attached to him, and like, so he's the sweetest cinnamon roll.
Okay, well,
I love him.
I didn't read those.
and it's just like, he got done dirty, and
yeah, that's
so he. The interesting thing is that he is. He's not related to Jessamine Lovelace because he was adopted, but he ends up being. His ghost is with Jessamine's ghost at the London Institute. So, and that is why Simon picked Lovelace as his Shadowhunter last name.
Why isn't he in Chain of Gold? Why isn't he in there?
Because it would have been after that. Modern day versus past time.
Right. Gotcha.
He wasn't live yet. I know the time hopping is weird.
Yeah, I don't remember Simon going to the academy in the books.
Yeah, it was all in just that one bind-up novella thing. And that's why Simon chose, like, when you ascend to be a Shadowhunter, you have to choose a Shadowhunter last name. You're not allowed to keep the name that you bring. Right. And that's why Simon chose Lovelace, is because of George.
Oh, Lord. I'm so glad I did not watch that.
I'm heartbroken.
I can't. Even you just telling me that just made my heart, like, drop. I
know.
Oh, my God. I can't. I don't even know George. And I'm already.
I don't even know George, and I'm already crying. It's a hard one.
No.
Sophie wants to know, who is everyone's favorite character from all of the series?
Ooh,
that's a rough one.
That is a rough one, because there are a lot of freaking characters.
CeeLo says Kit Harington, because that series is the one most recently read and the most on my mind.
I do like Kit. I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but he's a good character, and I'm curious.
He's gonna be amazing in the Wicked Powers.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked.
I'm excited because they really, I feel like, teased us with Kit in the Dark Artifices. You know, we got a good chunk of him, but I feel like, for obvious reasons, that he wasn't like the main focus. So I'm excited for him to be a main focus because I did love his character so much.
If anyone has not read the Ghosts of Shadow Market bind up that follows Jem, like, over the years through the Shadow Market, there's there's 2 or 3 stories in there that take place after the Dark Artifices. So it's like set up for the Wicked Powers.
Oh, okay.
So you get to see what's going on with Jem and Tessa and what's going on with Kit and some things in there. And also you get to see Alec and Magnus and how they adopt their second son, because you see how they get their first son in Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. So you get to see how they adopt their second son in Ghosts of Shadow Market. So a lot of it is just, you don't need it for context, but if you're bored, just like put it on an audiobook and enjoy it, because God, I love getting like full in.
Yeah, for some reason I don't read I haven't read any of the side stories, because I think just because it's overwhelming, there's too many of them. Like, it's already overwhelming if you haven't started the books, like the actual series, because if you're like, oh, well, no, start with this, and then, okay, there's 6 books here, and then there's 3 books here, and there's 3 more books here, and, like, you know what I mean? So And it's not even like with Dark Artifices, it's not even just like 3 books. It's like 3 books.
It's 3 tomes.
There's like a million pages. So it's, it's a huge daunting thing. So then to add on to, and then do this series that there's like 15 novellas in, they're just like, ah. But if you read a lot, obviously, it just takes me forever to get through a book.
Oh, I'm trying to think of who my favorite character from all the series is.
I know this.
That is so hard. Honestly, I think one of the best character arcs is Simon. Simon is one of my favorite characters.
That is a crazy arc. I agree. I do love Simon. That's why I was so partial to Robert Sheehan playing him in the movie, because Simon, at that time, before any of the other series had come out, Mortal Instruments was the only thing that had been out. Simon definitely was my favorite character from the Mortal Instruments.
I think Simon is a very interesting character, and I think like the progress that he makes, and the fact that Simon is really like our eyes into the Shadowhunter world. Like you would think that it would be Clary's, but it's really not, because Clary has powers.
Yeah.
So like Simon is our eyes into the Shadowhunter world.
Yeah.
And so throughout the entire series, I mean, of course, he becomes a vampire, but that's outside of the point. But like, we get to see the world through him and through like being a stand-up person and going after fighting all of these battles and everything without actually having the powers that everyone else has, and without knowing what you're getting into. I get some cool powers along the way.
I was gonna say he gets them pretty quickly when he becomes a vampire. I mean, that's like book 1 or 2. I mean, it's pretty early, but yeah, he still feels like us. He's still like the kind of book nerd, like the guy that like was just, us. And then he got thrown into this world, which, yeah, you're right. You'd think it'd be Clary, but she was already kind of a badass before she was thrown into the world. So yeah, I agree. I feel like Simon represents the reader.
Simon is the reader in all things. Like,
yeah.
And I think that both actors who have played him wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I think that because you also see, like, which you didn't read it, so you don't know, you get to see his journey again in the Shadowhunter Academy, because he loses all of his memories at the end of the Mortal Instruments, which is one of the most beautiful scenes that I have ever seen in my life. Like, that end of City of Heavenly Fire is amazing. But so he becomes human again, and then he has to go through everything all over again.
Yeah.
So, like, not only does he have a character arc once,
but he has whole other one
twice.
Yeah.
I will say, Beth says Simon becomes a vampire in book 2, or in the first movie, because
I know
they kind of allude to it in the movie.
Yeah.
Christina is that character that I love the Heath Ledger quote from, oh God, what is it? 10 Things I Hate About You. It's like, what is it with this girl? Does she have beer flavored nipples? That's Christina. Like, that is 100% Christina, because all of the guys love her.
I do like Christina, though.
I will say one of my favorite scenes from all of the books, the one that hurts me the absolute most when I think about it retrospectively, is the scene from City of Heavenly Fire when Clary first goes into the Hell Dimension, and she wakes up and it's like her mom and Luke are getting married, and her and her brother Jonathan, and they have a little sister, I think.
Yes.
And you see the version of Jonathan that you could have had.
Yes.
Without what Valentine did to him. Yeah. That is the one that destroys me the most.
I know.
He's like, you get to see like this family relationship that Clary will never have, that she, she kind of has with Simon, but not the same. And you just see like this world and what things could have been like. And it is the way Cassie does that several times, where she like will cross a dimension and shows a different viewpoint of what the world would be like without some of the things that have happened. And it breaks me. See, I know, Sophie agrees with me. That scene broke me as well. It was horrible. And it's like and I think it's one of those things that you don't get in a lot of other stories. You don't get like because people are evil because they're evil, whereas poor Jonathan's just like an innocent bystander who got born and was made that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's evil and he makes some horrible choices, but he's also kind of half possessed by a demon.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's really hard to say that like any of that is his fault.
I know, because he does have moments where it flips, like the actual real Jonathan is like,
to come out.
Oh, and then you're like, oh no, and then the demon takes over, you know, kind of thing. Where, yeah, I like that. I mean, that's my favorite in any book series or any movie, TV shows is when, you know, they give the bad guy depth as opposed to just being just evil,
Bad.
just be evil. Yeah, because that's I don't know. I feel like there's always a reason why people are the way they are. I mean, unless you're of the theory that some people are just born that way. Because I know a lot of people believe that too, you know, that it's just like some people are just born bad. But, and to a certain degree that might be true, but it's like usually someone is the way they are because of what's happened to them. I mean, for him, it's just direct injections. So it's not like he had any choice whatsoever. But
he was not in charge.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I always look at and I'm like, oh.
See,
my heart.
Yeah, I have like, I think with the series, especially with like all three of them, is that, I mean, I definitely have favorite moments, but it is one of those, the way that she writes, kind of like what we were saying before. I remember more relationship things happening than I do like scenes, unless they're like scenes like that, you know what I mean, where you're just like, oh, like it gets your heart, because it's like, I feel like, because I was talking about this before with other authors, like with Brandon Sanderson, like he definitely has like, definitely you get connected to the characters, but he has these like ginormous freaking like moments where you just like, all you remember about the book is that scene, you know, you remember these scenes like this. Whereas for me with Cassandra Clare, I just remember like the scenes I remember when they're like, oh, remember when they got together and like, oh, they finally like connected, and like I think more about the relationships than I do of the plot. But you know,
it's one of those weird things where it's just like, I talked about it a lot in my video I made at the beginning of the year. It was like my top 10 authors of the last decade. And obviously it included Cassie Clare. I don't have like 300 of her books for no reason. I think I've fully funded her. She probably bought a vehicle just off of my purchases.
I know.
I have so many. I moved half to this side of the room. Oh God, that was a process.
I bet. Oh my God.
But like, I love the way that she builds characters, and swinging back around to what we discussed at the beginning of the chat is the actors and the characters. I think that I think the TV show, once you get past like episode 5, I think the actors did such an amazing job of portraying the characters and like their feelings, their emotions, what you would expect to see. Even when they changed, it's really weird. Even when they changed the plot, I don't think the characters acted out of character.
No,
that makes sense.
True. That's very true. Yeah.
I think the characters were still in character, even though they were not dealing with the plot that they had. And I think they did a really good job of that. Like I said, after like the first 5 or 6 episodes, the first 2 are horrible. The next 3 or 4 are bearable.
I didn't like hate them the way you did. I actually liked them. I actually started hating it in season 2. Like I really just was like over it. Like the
very first episode was just,
I guess because it's like,
it was so cheesy and like corny and just like everything that they said and just the way that they said it, and it was just so over the top.
I guess I didn't mind it.
That's just my opinion. Some people might have loved it. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to support anything that is Shadowhunters related for the rest of my life. I don't care if it's good or it's bad. I'm going to support it.
Yeah.
Just because I 100% want more people to see that. I want more people to see it, to enjoy it, to love it. And the more people that see like the TV show and the movie, or anything else that comes out if they make another movie in a few years, because, whatever. Um, I think that brings more people back to the books, and that brings more people for me to talk to.
I know, it's true. Yeah, it's interesting. It makes me wonder, though, if they're gonna, are they doing like an Infernal Devices or Dark Artifices movie? Do we know that?
I don't think they ever will. I don't know. I don't think that the first, it's so weird. I don't think that the first one sold well enough, despite the fact that it had, God, it had so many fans and so many people, but it just didn't do well in theaters.
Infernal Devices is so different that I could see them, like, whether people liked the original movies or not, they don't have to be associated with them for them to want to make it. You know what I mean? Because it's very sort of steampunky.
And the issue with the Infernal Devices, whether they would do it as a TV show or as a movie, the issue is that it would cost more money. Because it is historical, so they try to get things accurate as far as like scenes and costuming and all of that. So it makes, I don't know why I'm explaining this to you. You work in TV, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's usually not a factor. Like with Amazon and Netflix, they've got so much money that for network, yeah. Like if it was freeform for a TV show, I would say no. They would hard pass because of the cost. But a lot of places like Disney or like Amazon or like Netflix, it's kind of like back in the day when they were trying to release Three Musketeers movies. This was like in the 90s, and there's like a stockpile of costumes that are already made from the tons of movies and stuff, of that time period and whatever. And usually, if you're looking careful enough, they're using the same costumes and sets and things like that. So if they wanted to, like, I guarantee you with Infernal Devices, though, yes, they would probably want to have a costume designer on there to make it, even though if it's time period accurate, they'd still want they'd want to put their mark on it. But it's not, I mean, if you're doing everything, especially now, like with The Mandalorian and the way that they've set up this new system that every freaking network is now going crazy for, where it's not quite green screen, you're actually just creating this stage where it's almost projected behind you. So like all The Mandalorian, that was projection. That wasn't green screen, that was projection. They were like on a set that felt like you were walking into the world. And that brings it to a whole different budget, a whole different experience where you can have, your city streets from 1800s, whatever, and it's just like a projection behind you, so they don't have to pay for the green screen, they don't have to pay for any of that stuff. So there's so many things in technology that's pushing it in a way that is making things less money to make. So
True.
And they want, so I don't know if that would be as much of a factor as much as it would be, is there an audience?
It's so weird. I think that too many people who are like absolute diehard lovers of the book series at this point wouldn't be open to another interpretation because they hated the other two so much.
I think that's.
I think they're like, you already failed twice. Which, to be fair, I don't know that the TV series actually failed, because fans wanted the TV series to continue. It was Netflix and Freeform that couldn't get their shit together.
But this is the problem, is that they hired people, and Stefan met these people that, the writers, the producers, the EPs, that knew nothing about the books and could give a shit about the books. Right. So and it shows, because they veer off, they don't care. And even when you read in interviews, like the producers and stuff, they don't care that they went off book at all. They don't care. They actually diminish the fan base in the way they talk about the fan base, because for them, it's not enough. It's not enough people watching for them to care. Oh, and Stefan just gave me a note. They actually fired the first showrunner after season 1. So that means that they're replacing the showrunners every season practically, because it's not working. It's not working. People aren't watching. And then it's a business. And so I feel like if they got true fans of the show, like producers, writers, because there are a ton of them out there that are, and had them, like they did with Game of Thrones initially. Like the people that were show running and started Game of Thrones were true fans of the book. That's why they wanted to get a TV show.
That's why they wanted to do it.
Yeah, it was a passion project. I want to put this on the screen. I think this will make up a great TV show. That's how they pitched it. It was like, you have to read the source material. It's amazing. We've got to break, and that was not the case with Shadowhunters. Oh, sorry. Stefan's giving me more things. Oh, you have to, with cheat notes. You have to pay cast and execs more and more each season. And it wasn't economical after a certain amount of seasons. So basically, that's why the show got canceled. It's because they didn't want to pay the actors and the showrunners.
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, Netflix was willing to pay more, but Freeform wasn't. Netflix wanted to continue on.
Yeah. Netflix has got the cash.
Netflix wanted to continue on because they were getting so much residuals from, that is probably not the right word. They were getting so many viewers from other countries. Because it was immediate release on Netflix like the following day in every other country that Netflix releases to that doesn't have Freeform. So Netflix was getting a lot of movement from that. So Netflix was like, we'll even give you more money. Like we'll put in more percentage to the show to continue it on. And Freeform was like, nah, we're out. And
they don't get a certain amount of people in Freeform because Freeform, first of all, Freeform, the name,
first of all, it's a crappy ass channel, and they they get rid of everything that I love. Okay,
everything. If it doesn't reach a certain, Stefan. She knows that. Yeah, he was just saying that the property isn't owned by Netflix, which is what you were saying. Basically, it's owned by a company called Constantine.
Constantine Films, yeah.
It's German. Also owns Resident Evil.
Yeah.
They co-financed and pulled the plug, but kept ownership. Oh, so they still have the ownership.
Yeah, Constantine is also the ones that did the movie.
Right. Yes.
So
Stefan is nodding head emphatically.
Yes. I don't always say everything, and I don't always know what I'm talking about, but I know it.
He's just like,
I know it.
Well, this is the specifics. It's like, okay, fine. But yeah, that's the thing is that Amazon and Netflix have a shit ton of money, and they're totally fine giving it if the people that want to make it still want to make it. Like, like Lucifer. I mean, Fox was done. They're like canceled, done, and then Netflix was like.
But it has such a large fan base. Let's do this.
Yeah, and hello, that was the most watched season they've ever had. And it was the best. Because Netflix also gives you freedom. They're not over, like Freeform and a lot of networks, they'll give you notes, lots and lots of notes. And they're usually wrong. A lot of times. It doesn't make any sense. Whereas Netflix kind of gives you just like, you know what you're doing. Go for it.
Okay, any last comments before we run away? Because it's 12:58, which means we need to skedaddle so that y'all can get back to watching other panels.
Yay!
The next two panels, which again, there's a playlist link below if you would like to check that out. The next two panels are New Voices in YA Science Fiction and Fantasy, and Tackling Consent, Gender, and Toxic Masculinity and Romance. I will be over on Pages and Pens channel in the chat watching. For the New Voices in YA Science Fiction and Fantasy, I will be in that chat. So come and join us. I will be live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 6 hours from now. And I will have some of your favorite Authortubers, including Kate Kavanaugh, Bethany Atazada, Lizelle Sandbury, and Allison Aldridge. And we will be chatting about BookTube. Nope, not BookTube. Authortube. I just got done watching the BookTube panel before this, so my brain is on BookTube. We're talking Authortube, and we have a lot of questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you all will join us there. Any last things you would like to add, Miss Becca?
I didn't even get to change my background. I had a whole bunch. let me for the last thing, let me just go through my backgrounds. Just for fun. Okay, I had Alec.
Yeah.
Clary. I had Isabel. I got some Jace. I have Shadowhunters, which you can't really see that well. And then I think this is Will, right?
Yeah, that one's Will.
Okay. And that's it.
I can never be sure, but yes.
See, every time we were talking about them, I could have just
could have just switched to them. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you all enjoy the panels. Make sure you go watch back the Percy Jackson one because I have been getting blown up on the Discord for the people who are running the fest, and they are dying over on the Percy Jackson thing. So make sure you go watch that back for sure. Anyway, that is all that we have for today. Hope everyone had a fun time, and we will see you all later. Bye.